All right, so let's go ahead and get started today. First thing, my name is Evan Borjo. I am the Director of Ancillary Sales over here at Pinnacle Financial Services. I'm going to be the one that's going through everything today. So we will be talking about GeoBlue's travel insurance, or Blue Cross Blue Shield is the actual parent company that does everything. Just a couple housekeepings before we get started. We don't have any cameras on, so don't worry about that. And then I do have everybody on mute. I just want to make sure the flow of the presentation just stays on point. So if you do have questions, go to your little toolbox that should have popped up when you joined the meeting and just type them into the questions box, and I will answer those as we go. So the webinar is going to be recorded today. So if for any reason you do have to jump out early, or maybe you want to share this with somebody else who has been looking into travel insurance as well, you'll be able to share that with them. We will be sending a copy of this out to everybody that is on the call today. So just to kind of go over a quick thing of the agenda, what we're going to be talking about. First, I'm going to go into the different types of plans that are out there and how they're really going to work, what ones can be positioned to which individuals. From there, I'll talk a little bit briefly, just kind of what your commissions would be looking like. It's pretty straightforward on that side. And then I'll take you a walk through about how to do some quotes and a little bit about that enrollment platform. So without further ado, let's get started and into the products. So when it comes down to the products, you're really going to be looking at 4 different products that you're going to be seeing on the screen. Now, I get it. There's a lot on the screen here. So I'm going to break down each individual product and really the purpose of what they do. All right, so first thing to know, the 2 products on the left, the GeoBlue Voyager and the GeoBlue Trekker, these are going to be short-term plans. So designed for individuals who are going on shorter trips, where the ones on the right, the Explorer, the Navigator, are going to be more for long-term situations, usually 6+ months or longer, where somebody might be out of the country. So let's kind of go into it and go through what each one looks like and what you're going to do for your clients. All right, so we'll start with the GeoBlue Voyager, the one to the very left. I guess before I go too much further these plans are available in 47 states. So they're really not available in Maryland, New York, and Washington. So every other state, they will be available. So the GeoBlue Voyager. So this is going to be designed for somebody who's going on a single trip. This is going to go all the way up to 182 days or 6 months, half a year, however you want to say it. This is going to be designed for U.S. citizens or residents who are going to be traveling outside of the country. This does have a guaranteed issue all the way up to age 95. So no underwriting. If somebody is going on one of these trips, they're going to be eligible for this plan. It's going to cover sickness, accidents, and injuries while traveling. It does cover pre-existing conditions. If you wanted to cover pre-existing conditions, they do have to be on a current major medical plan. So this is going to be group insurance, ACA, Medicare, that type of thing. Something like a short-term medical plan or a discount type of insurance is not going to be included. So if they want coverage for pre-existing conditions, they do need to be on a current plan. There are no excluded countries in this situation. Premiums are always going to be based off the age of the individual and the length of the trip. So the older they are and the longer the trip is going to be can increase the premium. With the plans, they're somewhat customizable to a little bit, and I'll show you on the enrollment platform what the customizable parts are, but really it's going to be how much medical coverage they want as a dollar amount, and then the deductibles that they would pay before the insurance kicked in. Those are the 2 customizable pieces. And of course, the lower the deductible or the higher the premium, or the higher the medical coverage will increase their premium. These plans do also, I just got a message that I can barely be heard. Is everybody else, can you throw in the questions chat, is anybody else having trouble hearing me? If you are, we can kind of adjust some things. All right, looks like we are good to go. All right, so as I was saying, so these plans can be used for medical emergencies or evacuations as well, where if somebody does have a serious incident that happens overseas, they can be flown back home, right? So that's a big, huge component. Obviously, we never want that to happen to somebody, but it is good to know that that is an option. Okay, so again, so Voyager, mainly for somebody who's going to be doing one trip and that's it for the entire year. All right, next, as far as cruises, yes, cruises would be covered as well, Carla. I see that question. So pretty much anytime someone's going outside of the country, if they're going on a cruise, you know, through Europe or whatever, and it's going to be for 10 days, that would just be a single trip and they would be covered for up to 182 days. So yes, that would be covered as well. So the next one I want to go over is the GeoBlue Trekker. So this is designed for somebody who is planning on multiple trips throughout the year. It's going to cover a total of 70 days throughout that entire year. In this situation, they do pay for the plan for the entire year. So this is for somebody who, you know, maybe they have once a quarter, they go traveling to, you know, outside of the country, right? But it's only for a week or two at a time, right? So usually the premiums are going to be quite a bit lower than the than if somebody did the single trip and they did a 6 months at one time. And again, I'll show you what those rates look like here shortly. But again, definitely designed for somebody who is planning on multiple trips throughout the year, but they're still going to be less than 70 days. Now, I do get the questions all the time. Well, what if I have to do multiple trips, but I have to do more than 70 days? Well, in that situation, you would just do multiple single trips, so multiple Voyager plans instead of the multiple trip plan. So you'd only use the Trekker plan if the total number of days they're spending abroad is less than 70 days. This plan also with the Trekker is guaranteed issue, available up to age 95. Average premiums about $275, and again, I'll show you those here in a second. With the Trekker plan, a US health plan is required. So they cannot get on this plan if they don't have a US health plan. And again, just in case anybody missed it the first time, it does need to be a major medical, meaning ACA, Medicare, or some type of group insurance, okay? So, and just to really want to go back to the Voyager, if somebody doesn't have insurance, they can get on the Voyager. They can get for the single trip. For that side, it of course just would not cover any pre-existing conditions. So it would only cover anything new that would come up. So again, there is a little bit difference of premiums for that. And again, I'll show you on the website what that's going to look like. So let's see. I do have, let's see, so I have a lot of brokers asking about travel insurance, nothing. And Serena, can you rephrase that question? I'm a little bit stumped by what your point is. So I'll give that a second. I'll circle back around to your question here shortly. So again, so on the left side, that is your more short-term stuff. On the right side is going to be your long-term medical plan. So let me go through these real quickly. So starting off first with the Explorer plan. So this is generally somebody who's going to be going abroad for 6+ months, and it's generally going to be for a work type of assignment. And then give me 1 second because I just got Serena's question back here. Yeah, and so she's basically asking, are these plans going to be designed for anybody traveling within the country? So the short-term plans are really designed for outside of the country only. The longer-term plans, these are going to be the ones that are for people who are spending time abroad, but then might be coming back and kind of going back and forth. Again, if it's on, we'll go through the Explorer plan. Again, if they're doing a work assignment, let's say it's a 2-year work assignment, they're going to be in China, right? In this situation, in that 2-year period, maybe 2 or 3 times a year, they might come back home to just check in back in with whatever they need to do back home. In this situation, with the Explorer, you'll see as you kind of go through the benefits about midway, there are options where you can add on either no, basic, or comprehensive US coverage in addition to international coverage. So you do have both. So for that individual who is going to spend time abroad, but also come back home and they want to make sure they're covered for back home as well, these are going to be the plans that are designed for that individual. With these ones, they are only up to age 74. So while the short term can go all the way up to 95, longer term plans, they do have to be 74 years of age or younger. With this plan, these longer term plans, they are medically underwritten, right? These are going to be major medical plans, right? So the long-term ones are major medical, where again, your short-term plans are not going to be the major medical. That's why these ones will have underwriting. With them, they can be, again, used inside or outside. If someone's planning on spending 2 years abroad, but they don't ever plan on coming home, they don't have to add the US piece to it, and that can change their premium as well. With these, they're again a lot more comprehensive than what you're going to see for your shorter term. So they can have mental health added on, wellness, they can add dental and vision riders, they can up how much prescription coverage is all included as well. And again, I will show you how these plans break down on the website here shortly. But that is going to be the Explorer plan. The very one to the right, the Navigator, this is going to be for really 3 main groups of people. And that's really about it. So if someone is going to be like a marine crew, like they work on yachts or something like that, and so they're spending time working on a cruise, like Carlos questioned earlier, let's say they're the actual crew member, that's going to be designed for them. If they're a missionary and they're going to be spending 6 or more months abroad, another good plan for them. For students who might be spending a semester abroad, right, international students, also going to be a good option on the Navigator plan. They do an expedited medical underwriting for them, so there is still underwriting, but it's expedited and it's only 5 questions. And they do get better discounts than somebody who's on the Explorer plan, right? Because it is designed for that specific type of group. Okay, in a short, that's your 4 plans. If you haven't taken a screenshot of this page, highly recommend it, because this is definitely something you're going to want to have for your notes. And then in just a few minutes, I'm going to actually break down what this looks like on the website. So before I move past this page though, is there any other questions that maybe popped up? All right, nothing yet, so we'll keep going. I'd just like to talk about commissions. Real simple. It's going to be 15% of the premium across all products. So any of these products that you sell, you're looking at 15% of whatever the premium is going to be. Final thing, enrollment platform. That's where I'm going to go to next. They do have their Blue Cross Blue Shield. It is called Global Solutions. So I'm going to just follow this link right here and pull this right up and go through that together. All right, so let me go ahead and bring this over. All right, so first thing to know before we get into actually some quotations. So you'll see my name right here, my phone number, my email. So this right here is my own personalized URL. So I can take this, copy it, and paste it. So if I have like marketing materials that I send out, I can add that to the bottom, you know, my signature, and be like, need travel insurance? Come here, right? And they can come here, they can put in their information, get quotes, buy a plan, and anything that they do is gonna come right back to me, right? So real good way to just throw that on the bottom. And, you know, every now and then you may have somebody who's like, I've been needing travel insurance. Let me go look that up, right? And then as they're going through, if they have any questions, your phone number and your email are right there, so they can easily just reach out to that, okay? All right, so let's kind of break down what we have here. So we have our single trip, multi-trip, or the long term, right? So your single trip, that's the first plan I was mentioning, the Voyager, and that's where you can put in your information. Your multi-trip is the Trekker, or that second one. And then for your long term, you have your living or working abroad. That was the third plan that I went over. And then you have your maritime crew, missionary, or student or faculty, and that is going to be your 4th plan. That's kind of how this kind of breaks down here, right? So it makes it real easy for you, where you don't have to necessarily remember the plan names. You just go, hey, what's the scenario? And I'm going to pick it. Okay, so let's go through what a couple of these look like, right? So we'll start with the single trip, okay? I'm gonna say the individual 65, just because I know a lot of us work with Medicare clients, and we just want to kind of get an idea here. So I have that this person is just going to be spending a week abroad, so about 7 days, and I'm just going to hit get a quote. Right, so from here, it's going to pull up the pretty much the top of and maxed out coverage and the lowest deductible, right? That's going to be a total. So in this 7-day period, or 8 days, it's going to be considered. It's going to be $983 per person per day, and it's going to be a total of $78. Right now, a couple things that you can customize, right? So we have medical coverage here of $1 million. If they don't need $1 million and they want to, get the premium down a little bit, I can lower it to 500,000, which lowers it very little, so it wouldn't make sense. But let's say I go all the way down to just 50,000, that goes down a little bit more, right? So in the grand scheme of how much they're saving, at $8 a day, at $50,000, or I can do $1 million at 10. The million, obviously, it's not that much more for them, and they just get a lot more coverage there. So generally, I would stick with the higher amount. But again, do what's best for your client and figure it out from there. From here, if they're okay paying a deductible of 500 to get that $1 million coverage, I can do that. And again, that also is going to reduce the rate here, right? So if I'm really looking at somebody who's really just trying to save the most, but just get some coverage here, they can get $50,000 of medical coverage with a $500 deductible, total of about $46 and then $571 per day. So very, very affordable for your clients, right? Even if we did the max, I still think it's very, very affordable for them. Okay, so let's look at what this is. Oh, actually, before I go down, right here, you'll see cover my pre-existing conditions, right? And you'll see right below it, it requires an existing domestic health insurance plan, right? So in order for this to be covered, I do have to have an existing plan. If I do not want my pre-existing conditions covered, I can uncheck it. My premium does go down for that, but any conditions that I have currently will not be covered, right? So generally, I want to make sure that I cover pre-existing conditions, unless, of course, they just don't have any insurance, okay? All right, so if I scroll down a little bit and I see benefits and medical coverage here, I just go to coverage details, and this is going to break down what I'm going to be covered with, right? So you'll see the coverage, it's up to 182 days. You'll see the primary health plan is required here, and it says yes because we have my pre-existing conditions covered. So if I uncheck this, that should change to no. So you'll see it says no now, right? So I don't need to have that there, okay? So let's keep that checked though, just because we want to have that going. Okay, so if I come down here, you'll see everything, like there's a lot of things that are covered at 100%, which is really nice. So in-hospital, doctor visits, surgery, x-rays, inpatient medical emergencies, ambulance services, right? Outside the US, outpatient prescription drugs, 100% of the reasonable charges up to $5,000, right? So a lot of really good stuff is included in this plan for them, right? So it gives them a lot of really good peace of mind for your clients, okay? So again, I'm not gonna go super in depth with this. If once you get contracted, you can come to this page, download plan information, have all that at your access as well. Okay, all right, so now let's move on to multi-trips and how those break down, okay? So as I mentioned before, multi-trips, you pay for the entire year at one time, right? And that would be $299. Again, this is for 365 days. But again, in the multi-trip, it's only gonna cover the first 70 days, right? So if somebody does need coverage for more than 70 days, you're probably going to set up multiple single trips for them, and that would make more sense. But in this situation, you'll see it ends up being 82 cents per day for the 365 days for that whole time, right? The medical coverage is a little bit less customizable. So you can either do $1 million of coverage with a $100 deductible or 500,000 with a $200 deductible. And this would significantly lower the price. But again, if you're looking at somebody, if they can afford to spend 70 days abroad in a given year, they can probably afford an extra $80 for the entire year. So again, do what's best for your clients. I never like to say, hey, this is the one thing that you need to do. Do what's best for them, right? But this is what you're looking at. And then down here again, for the multi-trips now, it has changed. I just look at coverage details again. you'll see it's now been updated to what kind of length there are. And again, it has all your different benefits that you're going to see right here. So that is your short terms. That's kind of the rates that you could be expecting there. Oh, did I? Is someone just said the PowerPoint is stuck on your contact info? Oh, that looks like he already took off. Was anybody else? Did everybody else see my entire PowerPoint with the actual breakdown of the plans and everything like that? So somebody just said that they didn't. So if you didn't, I'm so sorry. Okay, perfect. Looks like everybody else was fine. All right, great. So now let's go back. I'm just going to go back here. And now let's look at the long-term options here, okay? So again, we'll start with the living and working abroad, because that, again, this was that third plan that I had shown you. Perfect. Great, Gary. I'm glad that everything's working for you. Okay, perfect. So let's get a quote here for living. This is somebody who's planning on living abroad. So this is actually going to have you enter a little bit more information here. I'm just going to put in my birthday, but I'm going to just choose an older year. I am not that old, so this is actually supposed to be 86, so I'm not even 40 yet, so calm down, people. All right, primary destination. Let's say we're going to the UK. Okay, am I a US citizen or resident? Yes, make sure that's checked. And then I'm just going to say my name is John Smith here. Put in some dummy information here. All right, and I'm going to go to get your quote. All right, so a lot going on this screen. So let me kind of break this down for you, okay? So first thing, you'll see it kind of starts with the lowest costing price here, the $10,000 plan. From here, you can see I can do, this is pretty much the deductible amount. So this could be inside or outside of the US, it's all 10,000, right? If I wanted to lower my deductible, I can come down here, I can just slide this up to 5,000. Now I'm at 5,000 for a deductible in the US, in network, and then a deductible outside is only 2,500. The premium goes up a little bit, and then every single time I go up, the deductible is just lower, right? So that's the customizable field that I can have there. Couple other things, if I come down a little bit, I go to expand to view benefits. This is going to break down all the benefits I get outside the United States, inside the United States in network, and inside the United States outside of network. And it's going to break down your different amounts. And as you'll see, if they're getting using this insurance outside of the country, it's 100% coverage for a lot of different stuff here, right? Even when they're back stateside, when they're visiting home again, they still get really good coverage right here. So really good options for those type of individuals, right? So I'm not, again, going to go through every single line of this. Feel free to, come through this in your own time, but you'll see everything is here. Now, one thing I want to point out with prescriptions, this does have a $3,500 maximum per person insured with the prescription benefit. I point that out because when you look at your riders, when I come back here to the top, I can add a prescription upgrade, right? If you want to know what any of these upgrades are, I'm just going to come down here and it shows a PDF for what happens, right? So if I get the upgrade, now I'm looking at a different benefit that's on this screen. Again, I'm not going to just go through every single thing because I know you guys all have better stuff to do. Just know what these riders are, right? I can add the dental and vision if I'm curious what that is. Again, I just pull it up and it lets me know what that dental and vision rider is, okay? From here, if that makes sense, I go to apply and then I simply go through the enrollment from there. Okay, so again, this was that third type of plan. This is really designed for that individual who's planning on probably working abroad for 6+ months. Okay, so now I'm going to come back here to just plans, and I'm going to more talk about somebody who's maybe a missionary. So this, again, this is that fourth type of plan that I was going over earlier for somebody who is on the missionary side, right? So maritime crew, missionary, or student or faculty, they all kind of fall in that final one. Okay, so I'm going to get a quote here. And then I always like to point out, when you see these last 6 digits up at the top right here, this is your writing number with them. So if it's all that number is still there, you know you're still in your own account, right? So really good to know and make sure you kind of pay attention to that. Okay, I'm just going to use the same information I had earlier, just simply because it's there. I don't want to redo it. Okay, so with this one, same as before. You'll see rates are a little bit lower because, again, things like missionaries and these other types of plans do a little bit better of a rate for those specific situations. From here, again, I can change my deductibles based off of what the needs are, and as that happens, the prices increase. With this one, there's no upgrading any of the other like prescriptions. There's only the dental and vision rider that can be added on, but I can still, of course, come down here and see what all my benefits are, just like the other page. Right, so definitely get everything you need right here and go from there. But really, this is what you'd be looking at. Again, it is somewhat pricey for some of this stuff because I did have this individual who is, 65 years old. They're not 65, they're about 60, I want to say, is about the age that I made them. So they're a little bit older. Obviously, somebody who's going to be doing missionary work are probably going to be a little bit of a younger crowd. So obviously, if I make that lower, the price comes down here, right? But really, in a short, those are your plans. This is how you're going to quote them, how you can kind of customize everything. And really, that's all that I had to show you. I think this is obviously somewhat of a niche product, and it's not going to be something that you need to talk to everybody about. But I think it's really good for a lot of your existing clientele to know that you offer this, right? Because people all the time are going on these overseas trips. If they're on Medicare Advantage plans, there's very little coverage for outside the US. It's mainly domestic coverage. Some plans do reimbursements, and it's just not going to be a really pleasant experience. Where if they get one of these, especially the shorter term plans that are very affordable, it gives them peace of mind. If they're going for a week and they pay $80, hey, they're going to be covered for anything that happens to them, right? If you have families who are going on spring breaks and they're bringing all their kids and they want to make sure that the whole family is covered, great options as well, right? So a lot of really good things to know and make sure that you have that in the back of your mind. And let's see, I got a question here. Anyone underwriting travel for New York? Oh, yeah. And Timothy, I'm guessing you're trying to look for a plan that's in New York for travel insurance. So I'm going to look to see if there's any other good options for New York that have these available. I know New York is always restricted when it comes to some of these different ancillary products. So I'll look up some different stuff for you, and then I'll get back with you, Tim, and see if there is anything that is available in New York, and then we'll see what we can do for you on that side. But other than that, I mean, again, I didn't have a lot on my slide deck here, just had some basic stuff to go over. Here is my contact information. If you are not contracted with GeoBlue yet, it is a super simple process to get contracted. It literally, I got myself the contracting link sent to me. I completed the contracting in about 5 minutes, and I was approved 5 minutes later, and I was able to start writing it immediately. So if you don't have it, reach out to me, reach out to your current sales director here at Pinnacle and get that contract going. Let's see, how does this compare to other comprehensive plans? Again, you saw kind of the benefits that were there. Again, I'll pull them back up here. This is what you're going to see for, and you mentioned Alliance in that, Don. I'm not too sure if Alliance has comprehensive plans that are travel insurance as well. I know that GeoBlue is one of the only ones that we do for travel insurance here. And so again, we can definitely look at other options, again, for like New York and other areas. But again, I would definitely just recommend coming to the website here, looking at different benefits, see how it compares to kind of what you already have in your portfolio, and kind of go from there. But again, if you need anything else, feel free to reach out to me on the side. Other than that, thanks for joining today, and everybody have a great rest of your day.